Terrestrial and human modified ecosystems. Hello students, a very warm welcome to all of you in this particular lecture on ecosystem ecology. Today we are going to learn about very important aspect of principles of ecology in the form of terrestrial and human modified ecosystems. Let us have a glimpse of different types of ecosystems prevailing in this earth. Ecosystems are mainly of two types. First, natural ecosystem, and second, artificial or human modified ecosystems. Dear students, first of all, let us get an overview of natural ecosystems. Natural ecosystems are operating as self-regulating systems without much direct interference and manipulations by man. As per the habitat approach of ecology, natural ecosystems comprise of two major categories. First, aquatic ecosystem and second, terrestrial ecosystem. In this particular lecture, initially we will focus on detailed study of terrestrial ecosystem as a part of natural ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem. Dear viewers, let us study about the scientific meaning and general characteristics of the terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecology is concerned with the study of organisms living on land that is much variable in terms of time and geography. As compared to aquatic habitats, the terrestrial habitat exhibits several distinct differences in terms of environmental conditions, such as moisture becomes major limiting factor. Evaporation and transpiration are processes of chief significance in the life of terrestrial plants. Temperature variations and extremes are more pronounced in the atmospheric air than in water medium. Air circulation throughout the globe results in a ready mixing and maintenance of constant levels of chief gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Land is not continuous. Soil is a source of highly variable nutrients such as nitrates, phosphates, etc. Structure of terrestrial communities. Now, let us briefly outline the general structure of terrestrial communities. One of the outstanding features of terrestrial communities is the presence and dominance of large rooted green plants which require only light and mineral nutrients. They are the food makers as well as habitat providers for the other organisms. They are the prime agents in soil formation and play extremely important role in modifying the non-living environment. A very large number of life forms are represented in terms of terrestrial land plants. From floristic standpoint, one of the most widely used classification of life form is that originally proposed by Ronquier in the year 1934. Ronquier's life forms are based on the position of the renewable bird or organ and the corresponding protection provided during unfavorable cold or dry periods. It includes 6 primary categories. The first category is epiphytes. They are the air plants and do not possess roots in the soil. Second category comprises of phanerophytes. They are the aerial plants where renewable birds exposed on upright shoots. It includes 5 subgroups in the forms of trees, shrubs, stem succulents, herbaceous stems and lianas. The third category is comprising of chamephytes. They are the surface plants and possess renewable bird at the surface of the ground. Fourth category includes hemicryptophytes. They are the tussock plants and possess bird in or just below soil surface. Fifth category is comprising of cryptophytes or geophytes. They are the earth plants and possess bird below surface on bulb or rhizome. Sixth category is comprising of therophytes. They are the annuals. They complete life cycle from seed in one vegetative period and survive during unfavorable seasons as seeds. Terrestrial environment permeans. Now, let us get the brief idea about principal permeans of terrestrial environment. V. Shelford has utilized the term permeans for the highly mobile animals. such as birds, mammals and flying insects, which correspond to nectar of aquatic ecosystems. Permians move freely between strata and subsystems. They also move between developmental and mature stages of vegetation that usually form a mosaic on most landscapes. In Permians, their life histories are arranged so that one stage is spent in one substratum or community and other stage in an entirely different stratum or community. Large mammalian herbivores are highly characteristic feature of the terrestrial environment. These herbivores are highly migratory, moving from one area to other or by food availability or pressure of predator. Migratory birds are considered as the most spectacular Permians. Best example is North American warbler, which literally link tropical and northern coniferous forests by their seasonal migrations. Classification of terrestrial ecosystem. Dear students, let us learn about detailed classification of terrestrial ecosystem. The Earth's surface, especially continental land masses, have been classified into two regions by ecologists. First, biogeographic realms and second, biomes. Let us learn about biogeographic realms in brief. On the basis of the distribution of plants and animals on the Earth, the existence of 6 major biogeographic realms has been identified, which include first, Palearctic realm, second, Nearctic realm, third, Neotropical realm, fourth, Ethiopian realm, fifth, Oriental realm and sixth, Australian realm. Each of these realms is characterized by presence of certain unique organisms. Each realm embraces a major continental landmass and remains separated by oceans, mountain ranges or desert. Now let us acquire detailed knowledge about general meaning and different types of biomes. The terrestrial communities are recognized as large units called biomes. Biomes comprise the major life zone on surface of the earth. More precisely, the complex of several communities in a particular region represented by an assemblage of different kinds of plant and animals sharing a common climate is referred to as biome. Climatic climax vegetation is the uniform and key feature to recognize biome. There are 12 different types of principal biomes found in the world. Let us understand all the biomes one by one in detail. The first type of biomes found in nature are tundra. They cover large areas of the Arctic zone. There are basically two tundra biomes, one in the Palearctic region and the other in the Nearctic region. The vegetation of these regions is characterized by absence of trees and the presence of dwarf plants called tundra. The upper ground surface is spongy and uneven due to freezing and thawing of poorly drained land. Another characteristic of tundra is the permanently frozen soil referred to as permafrost soil at a depth of few inches to several feet. Precipitation in this region is 25 cm per year, mostly as a snow. Winter temperature is -30° to -40° centigrade. Summer is for 45 to 75 days with highest temperature of 10° centigrade. Tundra is Arctic desert with mosses like sphagnum, lichens like cladonia, grasses, sedges, dwarf birch like betula, salix and few shrubs. The warm-blooded animals of region include musk ox, Arctic hare, Arctic fox and others. Migratory birds, falcon, raven, etc. are Arctic birds. Tundra-like areas occurring on high mountains in the temperate zone are called alpine tundra, which are darker in color. The second type includes northern coniferous forest biomes. They stretch across both North America and Eurasia. They constitute thick belts of evergreen forests. Winters are chilly while summers are pleasant in these regions. Marshes have cotton grass and sphagnum. Vegetation consists of evergreen conifers which include deodar, larch, juniper, white spruce, balsam fir, red pine, white pine, hemlock and yew. They are adapted to severe cold winters. They show very less transpiration because of presence of needle-like leaves. Lichens, mosses, ferns and herbs are abundant. Animals are fairly high and comprise of many large herbivorous vertebrates such as moor, snowshoe hares and grouse. The seeds of conifers are the most important food for squirrels, siskinds and crossbills. The third type comprises of moist temperate coniferous forest biomes. These biomes are also referred to as temperate rain forests. They occur along the west coast of North America from central California to Alaska. They are characterized by the areas with high temperature and humidity. They differ ecologically in their floristic composition from the northern coniferous forests. Tsuga heterophylla, Thuja plicata, Abies grandis and Pseudotsuga are the major dominant trees along with presence of epiphytic mosses. The fourth type includes temperate deciduous forest biomes. As the name indicates, this region is characterized by a moderate climate, which exhibits a distinct seasonal pattern and deciduous trees. The areas have warm summer and moderately cool winter. Rainfall is 75 to 150 cm. This type of forest occupies eastern North America, all of Europe, part of Japan, Australia and tip of South America. Dominant trees are oak, elm, birch, maple, ash, chestnut, hickory, beech, cottonwood, poplar and magnolia. Besides them, some conifers also occur in subclimax state. Animals include Virginia deer, bear grey, fox squirrels, bobcat and wild turkey. These biomes are greatly modified by man due to greatest development of civilization. The fifth type comprises of broad-leaved evergreen subtropical forest biomes. These biomes are well developed in warm temperate marine climate of central and southern Japan and may be seen in Florida along the Gulf and South Atlantic coasts. Dominant plants are Quercus virginiana, magnolias, bays, ficus aurea, lyciloma and bursera. Palms are the prominent vines and epiphytes are also characteristics. The next type of biome includes temperate grassland biomes. They cover large areas and are extremely important from man's point of view. Grasslands occur where the rainfall is between 10 to 30 inches depending on temperature and seasonal distribution. These biomes occur in the interior of continents. Grassland soil characteristically contains large amount of humus. Based on rainfall gradient, the North American grassland biomes are divided into tall grasses that is 5 to 8 feet, mid grasses that is 2 to 4 feet and short grasses that is 0.5 to 1.5 feet. Tall grasses include Panicum virgatum and Spartina pectinata. Mid grasses are Stipa, Spartia, Caleria cristata and Orisopsis, while short grasses comprise of Beckley, dactyloids and Bromus species. The animals include squirrels, prairie dogs, antelope, wild horse and zebra. Apart from this, tropical savanna is also one of the type of biomes. Tropical savanna are grasslands with scattered drought-resistant trees that generally do not exceed about 10 meters in height. They are found in warm regions with 40 to 60 inches of rainfall, frequent fire and prolonged dry season. They constitute extensive areas in Africa, Australia, South America and Asia. In these biomes, the trees are scattered which generally comprise of Adenosonia and palms. Dominant grass species include Panicum, Panicetum, Andropogon and Imperata. The animals include mammals like antelope, zebra, wild beast and giraffe. The insects are abundant during wet season while reptiles are active during dry season. The next type includes desert biomes. Areas with less than 10 inches of rainfall per year, or sometimes region with greater rainfall that is very unevenly distributed, are referred to as desert. They are found at the lower altitudes between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Death Valley of USA, Sahara in Africa, Gobi, Arabian and Thar of Asia are best examples of desert areas. Ground is sandy or rocky. On the basis of temperature, desert may be hot desert or cold desert. There are three life forms of plants found in desert. First, annuals, second, succulents and third, desert shrubs. Vegetation is sparse, containing of cacti, euphorbia, acacia, phoenix, tamarix, echinopsis, etc. Desert animals such as kangaroo rat, camel, etc. are adapted in various ways to survive in scarcity of water. The other type comprises of chaparral biomes. It is a broad-leaved scrub forest with sclerophyllous or thick evergreen-leaved shrubs and small trees found in mild-temperate regions of Mediterranean and Pacific coast of several countries with abundant winter rainfall and dry summer. In fact, the chaparral biome usually borders a desert biome. There are plenty of shrubs and grasses that are found in this type of environment. There are trees too, but many of them are considered dwarf due to small size of them. Bushfires are common. Even plants with seeds have become highly adaptive to the chaparral biome fires. Some of these plants only will sprout after the dormant seeds have been touched by fire. Several plants are fire resistant, including sage, Adenostoma and Ceanothus. Trees of oak and eucalyptus also occur at places. Resident vertebrates of these regions are small rabbits, wood rats and lizards. The next type of biomes are known as pinon juniper biomes. These woodlands or pygmy conifers occupy large areas in the interior of the Great Basin and Colorado River regions of the Utah, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico and West Central California. Average rainfall of 10 to 20 inches is responsible for the stunted growth of Pinus edulis and several species of juniperus. The pinon nuts and cedar berries are important food for animals. The pinon jay and grey titmouse are characteristic permanent resident animals. The other types of biomes include tropical rainforest biomes. These biomes occupy low altitude zones near the equator. The rainfall exceeds 80 to 90 inches in these regions. Such type of forests are found in three main areas. First, Amazon and Orinoco basins in South America and the Central American Isthmus. Second, the Congo, Niger and Zambezi basins of Central and Western Africa and Madagascar. And third, the Indo-Malay, Borneo, New Guinea regions. Forests cannot be thick and consist of distinct strata. Trees generally form three layers. First, scattered very tall emergent trees. Second, canopy layer which forms a continuous evergreen carpet. And third, an understory stratum that becomes dense only where there is a break in canopy. The productivity of intact rainforest is very high. These are the forests which never burn. Climbers, especially woody lianas and epiphytes, are profusely present. The last type of biomes comprise of tropical scrub and deciduous forest biomes. They develop in areas where moisture relations are intermediate between desert and savanna on one hand and the rainforest on the other. They occupy very large areas. The key climatic factor is the imperfect distribution of fairly good total rainfall. They are found in Africa, Australia and Brazil. They comprise of thorn forest type vegetation. Human modified ecosystem. Dear students, now let us learn about second type of ecosystem in the form of human modified ecosystem. Human modified ecosystems are also referred to as artificial or man-engineered ecosystems, as they are mainly operated or maintained by man artificially. In these man-made ecosystems, natural balance is disturbed regularly. They require addition of energy and plant manipulations. Man tries to control biotic community as well as the physico-chemical environment in these types of ecosystems. The greed and necessity of human being has modified and altered the natural ecosystems greatly. The main reasons for the modification of natural ecosystems are: first, increasing human population; second, increasing human needs; and third, changing lifestyles. Human modified ecosystems may or may not depend directly on solar energy. There are certain specific characteristics of human modified ecosystems, such as: first, they are highly simplified and exhibit very low species diversity. Second, food chains in human modified ecosystems are generally simple and small. Third, they depend on human support for survival. Their need for energy, fertilizers, irrigation, etc. must be satisfied through anthropogenic sources. Fourth, they attract large number of weeds. Fifth, they are extremely susceptible to epidemic diseases. Sixth, they suffer from soil erosion and highly unstable. Good examples of human modified ecosystems include agroecosystems, plantation forest, urban ecosystems, rural ecosystems, aquaculture, as well as dams, reservoirs and diversions. Let us get the brief information about each type of human modified ecosystems one by one. Let us study first example of human modified ecosystem as agroecosystems and agricultural practices. Agroecosystems are large areas where crop plants are cultivated and harvested by humans for economic purposes. They are also known as crop ecosystems and cultivated as growing only one type of crop or two or more crop species in the same field at the same time. Agroecosystems are economically important as they satisfy the basic requirements of food, fruits, edible oil, etc. and provide livelihood to large number of organisms. Disadvantages of agroecosystem include severe loss of native biodiversity due to large-scale monoculture of agricultural crops, soil erosion, environmental pollution due to excessive use of insecticides and pesticides, as well as depletion of groundwater in many areas due to well irrigation. The second example is of plantation forest. It is a man-made ecosystem consisting of individuals of a particular tree species. Trees planted on barren land, private land, roadsides, canal and banks, along with railway line and on land not suitable for agriculture are included in this type. The aim is to grow fast-growing trees which are commercially valuable. Economic importance includes certain points such as tree plantation are raised for fruits, oil, rubber, coffee, timber, firewood, pulpwood for making rayon and paper industries, which can provide job opportunities and generate income. Tree plantation is also carried out for controlling soil erosion and increasing soil fertility. The third example is of urban ecosystems. Presently, there seems to be an urban revolution as people all over the world are migrating into towns and cities from rural areas. Urban revolution is taking place more rapidly in developing countries. At present, 45% of the world population is urban population, and by 2030 there will be more than 60% people living in cities. Advantages of urban ecosystems are that they are economically well developed and centers of commerce, as well as they are the hub of industrial growth and exhibit multicultural social environment. There are many disadvantages of urban ecosystems development. Urban areas consume 75% of the Earth's resources and produce 75% of the waste. Urban areas suffer from problem of air, water, soil and noise pollution due to growing number of vehicles and industrial emissions. Urban ecosystems suffer from serious shortage of water availability. High crime rate, unrest and unemployment are major problems of this type of ecosystems. Increasing population density in cities of the world compels some people to live in slums, which lack basic civic facilities like safe drinking water, waste disposal system and healthcare, etc. The fourth human modified ecosystem example includes rural ecosystems. Rural ecosystems are midway between natural and urban ecosystems, since the exploitation of nature and natural resources by humans are relatively much less. Rural people live relatively close to nature and follow a simple lifestyle. The fifth example of human modified ecosystem comprises of aquaculture. Aquaculture is the artificial cultivation of aquatic plants or animals which are generally commercially important edible species of fresh and marine water fishes, mollusks, crustaceans and aquatic plants. Fisheries include the extraction of food from the sea and the fresh water, whereas aquaculture is rearing of the aquatic organisms in artificially made water bodies. For example, culture of fish like carpus and tilapia. There are two types of aquaculture. Fish farming, which includes cultivation of fish in a controlled environment, often a coastal or inland pond, lake, reservoir or rice field, and harvesting when they reach the desired size. Fish ranching is a practice of keeping fishes in captivity for the first few years in floating cages in coastal lagoons and releasing them from captivity into water bodies. Adults are harvested when they return for laying their eggs to the lagoons. For example, salmon and hilsa cultivation. There are many merits of aquaculture. They provide high ecological efficiency. High yield in small volume of water and high profit is obtained. It reduces overharvesting of fishes and provides improved qualities of fishes by selection, breeding and genetic engineering. Demerits of aquaculture comprise of large inputs of feed, water and land. Loss of native aquatic biodiversity as it is replaced by monoculture of a commercially important fish species. Production of large amounts of fish waste that pollute water bodies and results in destruction of mangrove forest or coastal vegetation. Apart from this, aquaculture fishes are very sensitive to pesticide runoff from croplands. In aquaculture ponds, high population density is maintained. That makes them highly vulnerable to diseases leading to total collapse of the crop. The sixth example of human modified ecosystem includes dams, reservoirs and diversions. A dam is a structure built in order to store river or tidal water. Dams, reservoirs and diversions capture and store runoff water and release it as needed. They are used for controlling floods, producing hydroelectric power to supply water for irrigation, industry and other uses. There are several disadvantages of dams such as they permanently submerge large areas of forest and croplands, displace large number of native people, increase water pollution on account of reduced water flow, change physico-chemical quality of water, reduce nutrient replacement of downstream floodplains and disrupt spawning and migration of some fish species. The other major disadvantage is that these systems are highly costly. Large dams, that is more than 15 meters height, that is 492 feet, increase the risk of inducing earthquakes, especially in the earthquake prone areas. Apart from this, aquarium, space shuttles, industrial areas and laboratory cultures are also the examples of man-engineered ecosystems. Impacts of human modified ecosystem. Now, let us understand the impacts of human-modified ecosystems on biosphere. Most of the current environmental problems are caused by the uncontrolled growth of human population and growing urbanization as well as industrialization. All human-modified ecosystems suffer from loss of biodiversity and are not sustainable on their own. There are several negative impacts of human-modified ecosystem on nature, such as first, environmental pollution. Development of science and technology has helped to satisfy the growing human needs, but on the other hand, it has also resulted into the pollution of all the sections of the environment. Second, global warming. Atmospheric buildup of greenhouse gases due to industrialization and urbanization has caused considerable increase in the temperature of the earth, leading to global warming. Global warming leads to melting of glaciers and rise in the sea level. Rising sea level poses a serious threat to specifically thickly populated coastline cities of the world. Third, desertification. Deforestation, overgrazing, intensive cultivation, over-irrigation, etc. has resulted in the loss of topsoil and adversely affected fertility of the land. Prolonged degradation of land ultimately leads to desertification. Fourth, impact on water bodies. Rivers, lakes, ponds, estuaries and oceans are being extensively abused and suffering from problem of water contamination. These water bodies are being utilized for disposal of industrial effluents and all other kinds of waste pollutants. Fifth, overexploitation of natural resources. Due to rapidly growing population, overexploitation of natural resources is occurring, which has reduced the productivity of natural ecosystems. Introduction of new genetically modified high-yielding variety or non-native species in any natural ecosystem results in reduction of the population of native species. Over-harvesting of edible fishes reduces their reproductive rate and results in reducing their number, which may lead to their extinction from this world. Sixth, human health and disease. Increasing population leads to increasing incidences of epidemic diseases such as AIDS, hepatitis, tuberculosis, bird flu, swine flu, syphilis, gonorrhea, cancer and many more diseases due to environmental pollution or overcrowding. Minimization of human impact on natural ecosystems. Dear students, at last, let us understand how we can minimize the negative impacts of human-modified ecosystems on natural ecosystems. First of all, we should change our habits, curtail our needs and try to conserve our resources, especially food, fuel and water for protection of environment. Overharvesting of plant or animal species should be controlled to maintain ecosystem balance. The major solutions for minimization of human impact on natural ecosystem is to encourage eco-industrial revolution. Eco-industrial revolution refers to a new resource and efficient production of system that generates minimum waste. Eco-industry or industrial ecology can make industrial manufacturing processes more susceptible and more sustainable by redesigning the industrial processes along the pattern of natural processes. This includes recycling or reutilization of most of the industrial waste and striving for higher efficiency of energy and resource use. Hence, from this lecture, it can be inferred that terrestrial ecosystems are highly complex and diversified ecosystems, while human-modified ecosystems are comparatively simplified ecosystems. Summary. Dear viewers, let us quickly summarize our today's lecture. In this particular lecture of Principles of Ecology, initially we have learned about terrestrial ecosystem as one of the types of natural ecosystems. We have understood the general meaning of terrestrial ecology and outlined several distinct features of terrestrial ecosystem. we have also got the overview of general structure of terrestrial communities and permeance of terrestrial environment. The principal focus of the today's lecture was the detailed study of classification of terrestrial ecosystem, where we have learnt about 6 different types of biogeographic realms. Not only this, we have also characterized 12 different types of the biomes, with the existing conditions of the physico-chemical environment and biotic communities prevailing in those regions. After this, we have moved on to the study of second type of ecosystem as human modified ecosystem, where we have acquired the knowledge about different types of man-engineered ecosystems with appropriate examples. Not only this, we have also outlined several negative impacts of human modified ecosystems and provided suggestions for minimization of negative impacts of human modified ecosystems on the natural ecosystems. Dear students, hope this lecture will equip you with the adequate knowledge of complexity of naturally occurring terrestrial ecosystem, as well as develop better understanding about human modified ecosystems and create awareness regarding their negative impacts on the environment. Thank you so much to all of you for watching this lecture.